Hi there. For those that don't know me, my name is Peter Moss and I've been playing the uke for about 50 years. And what I'm going to do is develop a series of 10 lessons which will help you with your ukulele playing. And we're going to start with the sort of basics moving forward, and you can do this at your own pace. Now, as I say, it's going to be over 10 lessons. What I want to do is start from the kind of not absolute beginner. So if you've never picked up a ukulele before, perhaps this isn't for you. But if you do know half a dozen chords, this is exactly where you need to be. Now, to help you along with each of the 10 lessons, I'm going to produce a sheet. And if you haven't found it already, in the description, there's a place there where you can download it. It'll make it a lot easier to follow. So hopefully you've got that sheet in front of you now, and if you look at the top of the sheet, there's a circle there. Now this circle is called the circle of fifths, and if I wanted to go into detail about the circle of fifths, it will probably take me 10 lessons purely on that subject. However, we're just going to scratch the surface. One of the things that it does tell us is about chords, and chords that belong together in families, if you like. And if you have a look, basically at the top, it starts with C. Now, it just so happens that our tuning of the ukulele, G, C, E, A, gives us a natural tuning of the key of C. So what I'm going to do is miniaturize myself. I'd love to do that in reality. And I'm also going to share my screen with you on the computer and point to various bits. So here I am on the right hand side of the screen at the bottom, and we have the circle of fifths in front of us. Now I want to make this as much fun as possible, but it's very difficult when you're talking about theory to make it fun. However, in a few minutes we're actually going to be playing these chords and all will make sense. So here we go. Let's have a look at our circle of fifths, and we're going to concentrate in what's at 12 o'clock. So think of this as a clock face. Okay, so this will be like 12 o'clock here, and then this will be 6 o'clock, this will be 3 o'clock, and this will be 9 o'clock. It works exactly the same. So there are 12 semitones in an octave, just as there are 12 hours twice in a day. Okay, so let's have a look at these. Now the first chord that we need to look at is the chord of C major. Now, that's probably the first chord you ever learnt, and it's fantastic that the circle of fifths should have the C at the top because all our ukuleles are tuned to C or C6. The second chord you probably learnt was C7. We'll talk more about that one in a second because that's more of a passing chord. But probably the next chord after that you learnt was this one, which is the F major. Now, the F major is what we call a 4 above the root, which is the key of C. So these always will go together in a piece of music. Okay, now probably then to take us back to the C, we have this, which we call the 5 chord. I'll explain why it's called 1 and 4 and 5 later, but for now I just want to prove to you that these 3 chords work together. So I'm going to play a little tune using this chord, the C, using this chord, the F, and using this chord, the G. So I'm going to give you 3 tunes of different styles, all using what is on the circle of fifths in the family of the major chords, which is C, which is our key, also the chord of F, and also the chord of G. Now, for copyright reasons, I can't sing these songs in their entirety, but I'll just give you a hint as to where they are, and you can probably sing along yourself, okay? If we were to take a sort of country and western piece, Country Roads, and I put it in 3 chords rather than 4 or 5, we end up with something like this. 1, 2, 3. Country roads, West Virginia, the only chords I used there were C, the F, and the G. What if we were to do something sort of blues sort of thing? Yeah. Well, since my baby left me, C, F, G. Okay, so that's our 3 chords again, and a rock and rolly. I said shake, rattle and roll. I said shake. So there you go. So 3 pieces, different styles, all with the 3 chords on the circle of fifths at 12 o'clock, which is the key of C. So we use chords C, F and G. Right, so that was a bit of fun, wasn't it? Now, the reason that those 3 chords work together is they belong to the same family, which I mentioned before. So far we've used 3 chords, the C, the F and the G. Now, what if somebody comes to you and they say, I love this song, it's absolutely brilliant, but it's either too high or it's too low. You need to change the key, or the correct name is transpose the key. Now, the very clever thing about the circle of fifths is you can rotate it. Before we rotate it though, just let me show you what's below this circle. So we can see here the F, the C and the G, and the C is in the middle. If I just run this down here, you'll notice I've put it in a straight form just here. So the C is in the centre, and to the right is the G, and to the left is the F, which is exactly the same here, but this is more circular, but it's the same thing. Okay, now, if you wanted to go up slightly from the C, we need to go up to, I don't know, let's try F. So now F would be in the middle, and to the right would be C, and B flat would be on the left-hand side. So again, just to show it in a straight form, let's come down here, and you can see here, oh, a squiggly line there, but you get the idea. All right, so now F is at 12 o'clock. Imagine that we've turned the wheel round. So we've got F in the centre, and we've got C to the right, and we've got B flat to the left, just to prove it. So this is, imagine it's at 12 o'clock, so it's F's in the centre, C is to the right, and B flat is to the left. Now, what if the person comes to you and says, well, it's still not right. It's either too high or it's too low. It may be a female vocalist, maybe a male vocalist. Don't despair, because you can use the whole of this wheel, putting, first of all, the key you want it in the middle. And imagine that that is at 12 o'clock. So instead of the C being at 12 o'clock or the F being at 12 o'clock, which we've done so far, let's try another one. So we could go to the key of G. Now this time, imagine this is at 12 o'clock. So we got the G in the centre, we got the D to the right, and we got the C to the left. And that's exactly what I've done here. So using exactly the same format as we did before, the G is in the centre, yeah. The D is to the right, and the C is to the left. Now you can continue with this same theory all the way around the circle of fifths. So let's pick a really awkward key. Let's say E flat, which is here. Okay, so E flat now, imagine it's here at 12 o'clock where the C is. So where the G is, you wouldn't play a G, you play a B flat. Okay, so that's just there. Where the F is, you would play an A flat. Now, if you're an advanced ukulele player or guitarist, pianist, whatever, these chords will be in your chord library as you go forward. The point I'm trying to make is that no matter what key that you go in, the families remain the same. So if I wanted to play any of those tunes I did for you earlier in the key of C, I could play them in F and I could play them in G, and the circle of fifths shows me precisely which chords to play. Okay, so I'm now going to give you some examples of playing the same 3 tunes as I did before that we did in the key of C. We're going to rotate the circle of fifths to sort of left-hand side, so we're going clockwise. So now the F is in the centre, and we also have got on either side the 2 chords of B flat and also C. So let's pick the same pieces. The first one was Country Roads. Again, for copyright reasons, I can't sing all the songs and all the lyrics, so I'll just give you an idea of the pieces. You'll probably recognise it anyway. So Country Roads in the key of F. Country roads Okay, then we did Heartbreak Hotel. We did it in C the first time round. We're now going to do it in F. So, since my baby left me. Da, 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 da. So I've still used the same three chords, the F, the B flat and the C. The final one was our rock and roll-y. I did shake, rattle and roll, I think. Yeah. I said shake, rattle and roll. I said shake. Again, using exactly the same chords. Okay, so now what we're going to do is rotate the circle of fifths so that the G is at 12 o'clock, and then either side we've got the C and the D. So again, with the same tunes, let's do this. So Country Roads was first, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. A country I be. Okay, then we did Heartbreak Hotel. So that again in G is, well, since my baby da 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 da. Okay, and finally the shake, rattle and roll in the key of G, which means we're using the chords of G, C and D. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I said shake. I said shake. So it just proves that by rotating the circle of fifths, either right or left, clockwise or anti-clockwise, we can use the same chord families and we can transpose the key. So you now have those chords in your library, and we're going to keep adding to those as we go forward with the 10 lessons. Now the next thing I want to do is show you also within an inner circle, if you like, the minor chords. Now you may have heard the term before called relative minor. Well, they're all here for you. So if we look at the chord of C, the relative minor is here, which is A minor. Okay, so the A minor is relative to the C. That basically means it's quite easy to change from the key of C to the key of A minor and vice versa. Now also it works all the way around. So if we have the key of F major, the relative minor key is D minor, and just while we're at it, if we look at the key of G major, the E minor is relative to that key of G. Now, why do you need to know this? Well, when people are writing songs, what they need to know is the families. Now, we've already shown with blues and the country and western style that they can be actually used with 3 chords, which, for example, in the key of C is C, F and G. However, if you want to get a little bit more adventurous, you need to include some minor chords as well. This is great stuff. If you have these in your chord library, you can play typically hundreds and hundreds of songs using both majors and minors. It's a great place to be. Now, just a little side note. You might think if we've got a piece that includes all of these, so in here in C we've got a piece with C, F, G and also E minor, A minor and D. There is a song that does that. There's maybe many songs, but the song I'm going to feature in a minute is called The Rose. So just before we go into the Rose, I want to highlight something. It uses, as we mentioned, these 6 chords, or these 6 chords here. And basically, if I wanted to change the key, I would basically take these 6 chords, and instead of having the C at the top, I could like have it in the key of F, so the F would be at the top. So these 6 chords are the rows in C. However, these are the 6 chords you would need in the key of F. Just while we're at it, these are the 6 chords you would need to play the rows in the key of G. Is it beginning to make sense? So basically, the circle of fifths can tell you so much. It can tell you what chords belong to what families. It can tell you how to change the key or transpose. So to finish today, let's have a look at the rows in the 3 keys. We're going to start off with it in C, and that would include the chords C major, F major and G major. And our minor chords are E minor, A minor and D minor. Now you'll notice at the bottom of the second sheet that all the chords are there, just with one verse to give you an idea, and all the other verses are going to be the same. We'll start with it in the key of C, as it is there. Once again, for copyright reasons, I can't sing the song, but I'll start you off, and why don't you sing it? Okay, starting in C. 3 in. 1, 2, 3. Some say... So that used all 6 if we're putting the C at 12 o'clock. Okay, now we're going to transpose it to the key of F. And just before we do, just have a look at the circle of fifths again. If we were to rotate it sort of clockwise so that the F would be where the C is, the chords that we would now have are F, C, B flat, A minor, D minor, G minor. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the 6 that we have now when we're playing it in the key of F. So do you want to play with me? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Some say... Fantastic. Is it all making sense now? Great. So what we're going to do next is rotate it the other way. So we're going to put the G at 12 o'clock. So now our 6 chords within that family are G in the centre, we've got D to the right, C to the left, B minor, E minor and A minor. Okay, not necessarily in that order. The order is as I've written it out. So again, we're going to do exactly the same verse, just so it doesn't throw us, and we're going to use that circle of fifths to tell us how to play the same piece that we originally did in C, then we did it in F, now we're going to do it in G. So get ready with your G. 3 in. 1, 2, 3. Some say... Fantastic. Now, as I mentioned previously, we've just put this one key to the left and one key to the right. You can use any one of the keys that's on the circle of fifths if you so wish. So if somebody said, this is my highest note, you need to find a key that's comfortable for them to sing in. Just a little add-in before we go on to the end. Some of you may be struggling with a couple of the chords, and the ones that come to mind, the first one is the B flat, which is like that. Now, if you can't quite see it on my fingers here, have a look at the graphic on the screen. Now, if you've been playing for a while, you might be able to do that with no problem. For those who haven't or have got some sort of issues with their left hand with all putting pressure on, I'm going to make it a bit easier for you. What I'm going to do is remove what's on the fourth string like so. So that's what it sounds like. Okay, so that has two names. It can either be G minor 7th, or in this case, we're going to call it B flat 6. Okay, the other one that springs to mind is the B minor. So the B minor is a bar and an extra finger on the fourth string. Again, if you can't see it here, have a look at the graphic. Now, if that is just pushing it over the edge for you, there is not a cheat, it's just an alternative. That is to take off what's on there and just hold down the bar, either with your first finger or your second finger, or a combination of by putting one over the top of the other. The fact is that we just got a straight bar on the second fret. So hopefully that'll make it easier. Now also, you're probably wondering at the top, play the same 6-chord song in 3 keys with only 10 chords, question mark. Well, how do I get to that sort of assumption? Well, what it is if you have a look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chords in the key of C. When we go to F, we haven't got another 6 chords because some are borrowed from the key of C. When we played it in the key of G, some were borrowed from the key of C. Now, in some cases, you'll find that like the chord of C, for example, is actually in the 3 keys, in the key of C, in the key of F, and the key of G. So you've got 10 chords on instead of playing 18 chords. How about that? I'm looking after you. I hope this has been of some use to you. I've enjoyed putting it together. So we have another 9 lessons to go, and the idea is just to give you that little bit of a push and just let's see where we can take you to. Now, these are completely free of charge, and I would ask if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is free after all. It just helps me with YouTube. Also, if you were to press the like button, but also just as important, there is something called a notification bell. If you hit that, then basically you will have notification of when part 2, part 3, part 4 of this course is available. There is one other thing which I do, which is called Ukulele Shortcuts, and that is all part of the Patreon network. So I have a community of about 80 people, and it's fantastic because this is like group learning around the world. And it really is interactive. So what happens each week, each month, I set tasks for my patrons, and I ask them to send me a video of what they've achieved. Now, just to give you an idea of the sort of interaction, I've got at the moment 63 videos which are uploaded to Patreon. I have 30 videos of things that patrons have sent back to me. So it really is a two-way thing, and it's great fun. Everybody, sends positive feedback and enjoys being part of the community. So if you would like to learn more about Patreon and ukulele shortcuts, have a look in the link, which I'll put down below. Okay, until the next one, you all stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Ta-ra!